Hayward Podworks. 100 shows, one vision.
Our sources explain it all. For more information on upcoming shows or to suggest shows, email brianhayward2026@gmail.com. And now let's get into our show. Hayward Podworks is vision, deep dives into any topic.
Welcome back to the deep dive. So we're taking the sources you shared, the articles, the notes, all that research, and we're turning it into really focused, actionable knowledge. For you, the learner, this is the definitive shortcut. And today we're diving into a topic that, while everyone schedules, but very few truly master: time management.
And it goes so much deeper than just calendars and to-do lists.
So much deeper.
Exactly. Our source material here treats this whole thing not as, an administrative chore, but as the essential ingredient for success in life as a whole person.
Okay.
So our mission today is to pull apart those ingredients, starting with the core philosophy. There's this anonymous insight that kicks it all off, and it really sets the tone.
What is it?
Ordinary people think merely of spending time. Great people think of using it.
Wow. Okay, that one line totally reframes it. So if we're moving from spending time to using it, what's the professional definition we're working with here?
Time management is defined as the art of being aware of the tasks within the given day and allocating your time in such a way that you will be able to effectively and logically accomplish all your tasks as well as your individual activities.
So it's a mix of self-awareness and logical planning.
Exactly. And the stakes are high. The source just hammers this home that time is your most valued possession.
It sounds dramatic, but it's true. Unlike money, you can't earn it back.
You can never return it once it's lost. It is the ultimate non-renewable resource.
And that realization is, I guess, what's supposed to motivate all the foundational work we're about to get into.
For sure. Section 1, building the time management blueprint.
All right, let's unpack this blueprint. If we accept time as this invaluable thing, then scheduling can't just be an afterthought. The initial recommendation is super specific about how you even start.
It insists you have to separate the planning from the actual doing.
Yeah.
So you take a dedicated block of time, like a single day of the week, maybe a weekend day, for at least an hour.
An hour, minimum.
And you sit down and design a truly realistic schedule for the next 7 days. This isn't just hurried list making, it's strategic thought.
I like the idea of dedicated strategy time, but the sources also warn against including the impossible. How do you guard against that? That optimism that makes us overschedule everything.
It's about radical honesty. I mean, if you fool yourself with a plan you can't possibly stick to, you've already failed before Monday even starts.
Right.
You have to build a schedule that accepts reality. Breaks, travel time, and this is so key, flexibility.
And that flexibility, that leads right into what the source calls the true time management test.
Which is, can you handle an unpredicted task? Something that was not on your schedule for the day. If an emergency or, a cool opportunity pops up and you can integrate it without everything else falling apart, that's when you know your system's working.
So the goal isn't rigidity, it's resilience.
It's resilience to disruption.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That completely changes the focus from just checking boxes. Okay, let's get tactical. Chapter 8 lays out 5 key practices. Let's start with the fundamentals, the list.
The to-do list. It's still the leading suggestion from experts for a reason. It does 2 things just beautifully. 1, it helps you focus your ideas so nothing gets dropped.
And 2,
the psychological hit you get from checking off a task is a huge motivator. It's immediate, tangible proof of progress.
Yeah, that feels good. And tied to that is checking the calendar daily.
Writing down appointments, it just frees up your mental RAM. Your mind can be imaginative instead of just trying to remember what you have at 2 p.m.
Okay, so what's the third pillar?
Prioritizing. You have to sort your tasks. High, medium, and low.
High, medium, low. What's the difference?
High priorities are those crucial projects, the ones that lead to advancement. Mediums are more like standard maintenance routine meetings, regular tasks. And lows are the nice-to-do things that aren't urgent.
That clarity seems essential. But here's the question. If we're only focused on the big, high-priority projects, what about all those little 2-minute tasks? Do we just ignore them?
That's a great point, and that's where the system needs to be agile. The priority matrix helps you know what's worth disrupting your focus for. But those little micro tasks, you should batch them together and do them all at once.
Or just get them done immediately if they take less time than scheduling them.
Exactly. But they should never push aside that one big, crucial, high project you set out to do.
Okay, excellent synthesis. Let's shift into section 2, tactical execution. So we have our lists, we have our priorities. How do we actually do the work?
Well, the first tool is alarms, but used strategically, not just as a reminder that a meeting is starting.
What do you mean?
Set an alarm for 10 minutes before a meeting. That gives you time to gather your thoughts, grab what you need, or just walk to the conference room.
Oh, that's smart.
And the really clever hack the source mentions. Reset an alarm for 10 minutes before the end of the meeting.
To force a wrap-up. That's genius. It respects everyone's time.
It does.
But what about those massive, overwhelming projects? The ones that just looking at them makes you want to procrastinate.
That's where you have to break them up.
Yeah.
People delay huge projects because they seem impossible.
Yeah.
So you have to break them down into bite-sized, non-threatening subtasks.
And the source gives us a great name, right? The Swiss cheese method.
Yes. The big project is the block of cheese. The subtasks are the holes you poke in it.
Mm-hmm.
You just keep poking holes until the whole thing looks manageable, and then you keep poking until the cheese is basically gone.
I love that. But sometimes the problem isn't the size of the project, it's something internal. The source quotes Sir John Lubbock, who says, "It is not really the time, but the will that is lacking."
And that takes us straight to procrastination.
Yeah.
And procrastination is, well, it's rarely about laziness. It's almost always fueled by these cognitive distortions. The source names 3 big ones.
Which are?
Fear of success, fear of failure, and the belief that you have to wait until you feel in the mood to work.
Oof. That last one is the most insidious, isn't it? We all use the "I'm not in the mood" excuse.
All the time. But that feeling of being in the mood is often just an illusion manufactured by avoidance. If you wait for inspiration to strike, you'll be waiting forever.
So what's the actionable step to fight that?
You just start. The source recommends spending at least 10 minutes each day on the task that you've been avoiding.
Just 10 minutes.
Just 10 minutes. It's so non-threatening. You're not committing to finishing it, just to starting. And that tiny bit of motion is often enough to break the spell.
That momentum, it seems, leads us right into section 3, which is all about the inner game.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where it gets really interesting to me. Why is a time management guide spending so much time talking about self-care and your internal monologue? What does treating yourself right have to do with being productive?
It's the difference between sprinting and running a marathon. Modifying your inner conversation is essential to rejecting stress. If you're constantly beating yourself up, your brain is wasting energy fighting an internal enemy.
So that inner critic is actually a resource drain, a productivity killer.
A major one. The goal is to treat yourself with love and respect, to free up all that cognitive capacity for the actual work.
So how do you do that? The source recommends a self-inventory. What does that look like?
The self-inventory is about tracing the origins of those inner critics. You know, those harsh voices, you're not smart enough, you're always late.
Right.
They often come from somewhere else. Parents, teachers, older siblings. By identifying where that voice came from, you realize it isn't actually yours. It's a recording.
And realizing that takes away its power.
It takes away a huge part of its dominance, yeah. It lets you consciously replace it.
That's really powerful. What are some of the other concrete ways to treat yourself right? For health, for efficiency?
First, commit to accepting and asking for help. You don't have to be a lone hero. Second, commit at least 15 minutes every single day for your own requirements.
15 minutes.
And this isn't just about relaxing. The source implies a physiological benefit, saying your adrenals will feel grateful.
Hang on. The adrenals. Why specifically the adrenals?
Well, the adrenal glands regulate cortisol, the stress hormone. When you're constantly rushing, stressing, or criticizing yourself, your cortisol levels stay high.
And that leads to burnout.
Exactly. So taking even just 15 minutes of uninterrupted time, it signals safety to your nervous system. It reduces that biological state of high alert. So it's not just a break because you deserve it. It's a biological necessity for sustained productivity.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah. And the source adds a crucial rule. Never say something to yourself that you wouldn't say to a friend.
Like, you are so stupid.
You'd never say that to someone you care about, so don't say it to yourself. And finally, manage your physical energy. If a hard workout leaves you drained, do something else. A slow swim, an easy bike ride. Sustainability over intensity.
This all flows right into the idea of positive affirmations.
It's the mindset component. If you're always telling yourself you can't do something, well, you're probably right.
You get the result you expect.
So you have to start thinking like the person you want to become. Internalize thoughts like, I possess excellent skills of time management, or I am always conscious on what I should do.
It's about building a new identity.
A new identity that can then interact with the external world more effectively. Which brings us to our last section, how this all impacts your relationships.
It's an interesting connection that using your time well is actually a form of love and respect.
For sure. Giving someone your quality time shows you love them. And what's fascinating is how the source translates respect into these really clear actions. Proactive listening, for example, is called the initial social skill.
Where you're actually listening, not just waiting for your turn to talk.
Right. And keeping promises, that demonstrates integrity.
And, tying it all back to our topic, punctuality. Being on time shows you respect the other person's time as valuable.
It's a silent affirmation that their time is just as non-renewable as your own.
Yeah.
And beyond respect, the sources talk a lot about the power of gratitude. Being thankful helps you deal with challenges. That positive thinking is good for your mind. It's good for your health.
It leads to a more contented person. Though the source is clear, right? Contentment doesn't mean you have to settle.
Not at all. You can appreciate what you have while still striving for more. It's a foundation, not a destination.
And the last piece of this is efficient self-expression.
Yeah, the source says, words hold the ability to provide life and death, particularly in relationships. That's pretty powerful. So how do we get better at it?
It gives 3 tips. First, perform lots of reading. And not just for fun. Pay attention to the diction, the word usage, the flow.
There's that great line. Not every reader is a leader, but every leader is a reader.
I like that one. Second tip.
Perform your own writing. A diary, a journal, anything. It helps organize your thoughts. If you can't write it clearly, you probably can't say it clearly.
And the third tip brings it all back home to that internal game. Do not fear judgment.
Right. It frames social anxiety as being rooted in the fear of the unknown. The advice is simple. Stop overthinking it. Your imagination almost always cooks up scenarios that are way worse than reality.
So if we pull this whole deep dive together, what's the big picture?
That true time management is, well, it's holistic.
Yeah. It demands robust external systems lists, priorities, the Swiss cheese method.
But it absolutely depends on a well-managed internal world. Self-respect, fighting off your inner critics, and intentional, respectful interaction with others.
The external productivity is just the output of a healthy internal operating system.
And if you can get that right, the payoff is transformative. Less stress, enough time for self-care, so better sleep, eating right, you never overlook deadlines, and most importantly, you have more time for leisure and for loved ones.
You actually get to sit and enjoy and relax without that constant worry buzzing in the back of your head.
Exactly. Time well spent is a life well lived.
Which brings us to our closing thought. It builds on the source's note that rewarding yourself after completing a task is highly motivating.
Yeah.
You get to savor the taste of achievement.
And this raises a really provocative question for you, the learner, to mull over.
Okay.
If time is your most valued, non-renewable possession, and you are deliberately spending that precious time on pleasure as a reward right after you finish a task, does that act of rewarding yourself, of dedicating your most precious asset to enjoyment, does that retroactively redefine your perception of the task's true value?
So the reward doesn't just motivate the next task.
It might actually justify the effort and value of the one you just finished.
Something to think about while you're scheduling those 15 minutes of adrenal recovery time. Thank you for diving deep with us. We'll see you next time.
Hayward Podworks. 100 shows, one vision.
All right, this is Hayward Podworks, and that's today's episode. If this helped you, do me a favor, hit follow, leave a quick rating, and share it with one person who'd get value. Want the extras, links, and new drops? Check the show notes. Until next time, stay sharp, stay consistent, and keep building. Hayward Podworks. We'll talk soon.